If you're concerned at all that your content, your podcast is just keeping you busy instead of bringing you premium clients, then you need to watch this video. Your main problem may not even be that you're putting out content, but it's about flying blind. You don't know if what you do is going to take 5 days to give you results or 10 years. And so in this video, you're going to discover exactly what to focus on and what to ignore so I can clear the path for you to become known, liked, trusted, and paid. Starting with the first thing, mindset. From personal experience, mindset holds people back. It held me back for many, many years. I was in that same position that I'm talking about where I thought, what's the point of creating content? It's going to take me too long to see results. It doesn't matter. I should focus on anything else. And I literally focused on cold outreach. I focused on running ads. I focused on building an email list, all these other things. But I came back after 7 years to putting out content. Creating content can be the most rewarding thing for your business because imagine it. You could put out content today, go to bed tonight, wake up tomorrow with a calendar full of people who are inquiring about your services, who want to work with you, who are happy to pay you money to get your services. And it's all organic. It's not you running ads and hoping that something happens. It's you creating content that genuinely helps people. But even with that, even with the potential of all of that happening, most people, and you and I, didn't get started because of the one fact of uncertainty. Uncertainty can be crippling. Uncertainty of not knowing when it will work, how it will work, will it even work? And spending the time and effort to create this long video to then edit it, put it out there, and it could fall flat. This video could fall flat right now. You just wasted your time. We're going to talk more about that as we go down. The first thing I want to talk about as it relates to mindset is your objective is to focus on the things that you can control. Now, the other day I was watching this clip for one of these animes that I love called Hajime no Ippo. It's a boxing anime. In one of the arcs of the anime, there was a championship fight. And this one guy who was a challenger was going up against a champion. And the champion was overwhelming, the champion was vicious, the champion was brutal. He reveled in the fact that he was going to completely destroy the challenger. And the challenger is the protagonist of this scene. And so the fight's going on and the challenger is being beaten down, being totally obliterated. He almost loses consciousness. And in that moment when he's about to go down and he's about to pass out and lose the fight, he remembers something that his coach says. And his coach says, just keep hitting the mittens. Just keep throwing your punches. Just do exactly what you do. I didn't do it justice by talking about it. But what that said to me is there are things that are going to happen in this process about building content and attracting premium clients. And I want to shift your mindset around it. None of the results you can control. You cannot control when somebody watches a video. You cannot control when somebody buys from you. Yet still, there are thousands of people online who put their content out. They have confidence that they're going to get thousands of people put into your website and hundreds of people booking calls and taking sales every single day, 10, 20 sales calls every single day. And that's because they can control all the inputs. They can control their energy. They can control their charisma. They can control how they show up on camera for their potential clients. They can control how often they create content, how often they get up from a failure, how often they recover when something doesn't go well for them. And they've built up those fundamentals of posting consistency, of showing up well on camera, of continuously improving every single new video. They control all those inputs. And that has allowed them to have a certain amount of certainty to predict what outputs they're going to receive. And if you're just starting out in this process, you don't have that predictability built in. You don't have that pathway, that channel from inputs to outputs clearly defined. But all you have right now, all the tools that you have at your disposal are your inputs, are what you can control. And so that's all I want you to focus on. And that's all you should focus on. Record your content, record your videos, do your interviews, publish them consistently. And don't worry right now about outputs. Because listen, whether you worry about outputs or not, outputs are going to come. You don't have to look at the numbers. You don't have to look at your click-through rate or your average view duration or even your website traffic to have people come to your website. They're going to come whatever. You don't control that. And if you create content that's compelling, and we talk about how to do that, then that's all you need to worry about and clients will come. So at some point, there will be a time in this process where you'll be able to build up some predictability, but it comes in after you've built up the reps, after you've mastered your inputs. So focus on the things that you can control. But the next thing I want to drill into your brain as relates to mindset is that you want to set small goals, but keep moving the goalpost. So I'm going to tell you something right now. And when you think about it, it's going to be massive. It's massive. It's going to be insurmountable. If you're starting from zero, this is going to be ridiculous on that I'm saying it is. But I want you to focus on getting to 100 videos. 100 podcast episodes, whether it's going to be 100 solo episodes or a mixture of solo episodes and interviews, get to 100. Now, 100 episodes, if you post it every single week, that's over 2 years. If you post twice a week, that's within a year that you can get that done. And that's going to seem insurmountable because it's a lot. But why I say 100 is that if you focus on every single video, showing up as your best, and improving in some way for each video, long before you get to the 100th video, you're going to see results. Whether it's going to be tons of views or what's important to you and me, which is going to be booked calls and clients. It's going to happen. I can't guarantee it will, but it's very likely, this is the law of the universe, that what you sow, you shall also reap. Okay? So just believe in that fact. But anyways, looking from 0 to 100 episodes is going to seem like you're trying to climb Mount Everest. And so what I'm saying is keep your goals small, but move the goalpost. 5 is not insurmountable, right? 2 is not insurmountable. You say, you know what? I'm just going to get to posting 2 videos. Then you get to the second video and you're like, okay, 5 is very close. I can do 5 more videos. When you get to 5, you say, let me try to do 10. You get to 10, let me do 15. When you keep your goals small, it becomes a lot more manageable. This whole process about consistency is you don't want to brute force everything. You're not trying to white knuckle your way to this growth goal because it's just not going to happen. If you try to go too fast or too hard on a consistent basis, you're going to burn out. And so keep your goals small and move the goalpost allows you to stay grounded and stay present. You're just trying to do this small thing here, just trying to fit in this small box. It's this small tile. You know, it's just like back in the day when you used to play like Super Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong or Kirby or one of these games on the Nintendo, right? Like to say you're going to go and you're going to finish the game in one night, you're going to burn yourself out, you're going to psych yourself out. The first time you fail, you're going to be so anxious and so filled with rage versus if you just decide, I'm going to do it one level at a time. Each level has its own up and down. It's fun. There are things that you didn't expect. There are new scenes you weren't ready for, new enemies that you don't really know how to take on. And so you beat that level and you move on. And the new level is a different thing entirely. You have to try new skills, new techniques. And you just build and build as you go until finally you've gotten to the last boss, you've beaten the last boss, and you've won the whole game. But the entire journey has been a very fun journey because you've only focused on one level at a time. And that's what I want you to do here. Each video is going to have its new challenges. You're going to have to overcome the anxiousness of, can I deliver this whole content? Can I riff for 40 minutes? Can I read a script and maintain my energy for the entire time? Can I maybe tweak the hook some more or come up with a better hook, create a better title and thumbnail? Each video has its own challenges. And so when you keep your goalposts small, you're not trying to psych yourself out by taking on more than you can chew. You're just focusing on what's the small goal that's in front of you. And then as you move close to that goal, you continue to incrementally move the goalpost. And before you know it, you'd have had 100 videos done and you'd have reaped all the benefits. As I said, what you reap, you will sow of comments flooding in, likes coming in, views going up, people clicking on your web page and going through all your landing pages, watching other VSLs, booking calls in your calendar, being like, I love that video so much and I want to work with you. But it starts with you keeping your head down and keeping your goals incremental. You want to get to the 100, but you're going to forget about that as you work on what's the next step, what's the next step, what's the next step. I hope I've drilled it into your mind enough now. I think we've covered mindset enough. Actually, there's one more thing to talk about. You and I have an understanding right now that what's important to you is getting clients, getting booked calls, or getting people to go straight through and purchasing your offers. That, between you and me, is what's most important. This whole YouTube game can send us different smoke screens, right? And you might say, boy, I see the Alex Hormozes are getting hundreds and thousands of views I would like that, because that means that if they get hundreds of thousands of views, what they're getting back in terms of calls is going to be thousands of calls. And if they can get thousands of calls, they can build their entire business overnight with just one video, which is great to think about, but it will drive you insane. And the reality is you don't need that. You don't need to worry about views. You don't need to worry about subscribers. Don't add things on that are going to be the vanity metrics that will weigh you down and add more weight to this entire process. You want to keep it light. So the output you're looking for is book calls and sales. That's it. For the next 100 videos, promise me that you won't look at your analytics. I know it's tempting. I do it all the time. I am not listening to my own advice right now, but I'm telling you from experience that it doesn't help. Don't do it, because there are times when I post a video and I always try to do my best, but I wasn't too obsessed with my performance there. I put the video out and I don't expect it to do well, and I get a call booked and someone's like, I love that video you posted. Or maybe that one video that they saw was a reminder to check through my back catalog, and then they saw something that actually did resonate with, and they decided to book a call with me. So like I said, you don't have any control about how someone finds you, but what you can control is staying top of mind with your potential clients by continually showing up, by continually publishing, and the rest of it will sort out itself, I promise you. So let's just recap the entire mindset section. Focus only on the things that you can control, keep your goals small and move the goalposts, and only focus on the outputs of book calls and sales. Do not look at your analytics for views or anything else. It doesn't matter when you're under 100 videos. So there's more that we have to cover in this video, but if you're looking for answers to your specific situation, like a plan for how you can build a content strategy on your specific business, I can't talk about it here on YouTube, but I can talk about it on a call with you, a growth call. So if you're interested in that, link in the first description, book a call, and then let's talk about how I can help you, not just with that content strategy, but actually building out all the assets, all the pieces that you need to have a successful podcast. All right, so the next topic we want to talk about is to build yourself a swipe database. I'm going to tell you a secret right now. This took me years and months to learn this. Before I learned the secret, I was just going through this process thinking that if I make it, they will come. But that is a fallacy. People will tell you, just make a good thumbnail, just make a good title, and then people will come onto your video and you'll grow that way. No. When I did this is what caused my clients to get views for their channels. This is what caused my channel to get views as well. And it's to build a swipe database. What not many people are going to tell you is that it's easier for your growth to model what's already working than to reinvent the wheel. And that applies to everything. That applies to hooks, that applies to thumbnails, titles, that applies to landing pages, VSLs, everything. It's better to start with a base that you can add your own spin on and you can recreate in your own language and your own personality than to start with zero, a blank page. I go even for ChatGPT. Even if you say, ChatGPT, give me 10 topics or 10 YouTube titles, it's easier for ChatGPT to start with, here's a base of actually working YouTube titles. Give me 10 based on this. You're going to have a much better time, much more effective time to get views. And then, of course, to get everything that comes with that when you're starting with something that already works. And so that's the concept here about building your swipe database. And here's what I like about this. This advice didn't sit well with me when I was thinking about just look at what other people in your niche are doing and copy them, because that felt like stealing. Someone who's talking about podcasting services and I was going to take their video title and description and just redo it. That felt like cheating. But the things that work in other niches also work in your niche. If you're someone talking about, here's how I made $1 million with my YouTube channel, I could say, here's how I made $1 million with my podcast, if I made $1 million with it. You get the point I'm making. Something in another niche will also work in your niche. So you want to take a broad view as you go through this process. And here's the process. Instead of going on YouTube like you normally do and look for things to consume, you want to go in there to hunt. You are now the hunter and you're looking for the outlier videos. So step one is to grab the vidIQ Chrome extension. And as you go through YouTube, you want to see what titles and thumbnails catch your eye. When you do that, you will also look at what is the outlier ranking at the bottom. So right below the title, you'll see the outlier ranking, like where it's got like 4x more views on their regular videos or 10x or 100x more views on the regular videos, you'll see it there. And so you want to screenshot or screen grab that title and thumbnail and that outlier score and add it to your swipe database. Also, it'd be good to get the YouTube link so you can, in the future, maybe go through that video and see what their hook was and how they narratively broke up the episode as well. And you can use that context to really give you a rich set of data points for you to make your own content. Now that you've done that, every day you get up, when you'd normally be looking through YouTube to find something new to watch, you're scrolling through and you're just grabbing stuff and throwing it into the database. You will have a sizable database of content, of videos. And your next path is to learn. You want to learn about why the thumbnail attracted your attention, why the title worked. Just give it your best guess. This experience is going to build up in you a self-awareness. You may have heard about something called the RAS, the Reticular Activating System, where if you give it enough data, and usually your data is your lived experience, you begin to see patterns just emerge naturally. And so building this database trains your RAS. And so when it comes to the practice of creating your title and thumbnails, your RAS will begin to help you in that process of coming up with stuff yourself. You begin to speak the natural language of titles and thumbnails. Very powerful. So 1, build a database. 2, you want to learn about why these thumbnails worked, why these titles work to enrich you. And then when you're going to create stuff, you're just trying to recreate. You're not trying to be creative now. Look at what's working, take the title and give your own spin on the title without changing too much, and take the thumbnail and create your own version of the thumbnail without changing too much. Over time, you'll be able to create your own, right? But for now, you want to replicate, change it to it's tailored to you, tailored to your setting, tailored to your face, tailored to your niche. And then over time, you can begin to create. And like I said, you should build a database not just for your YouTube, podcast, titles, and thumbnails. You also want to get a database for hooks. You also want to get a database for landing pages. Here's how this landing page looked with this video at the top, and here's the copy that they used. And you want to build that database up as well of others and VSLs as well. Because the reality is you have an expert's brain for your niche, for your subject matter. But you are a baby, and it's going to be frank with you, you are a baby in everything else. There are people who have paid marketers, who have been doing this for years and decades, who built all of these things. You could try to compete with them with your baby brain. Good luck to you on that. Or you could say, let me just take a look at what they've done, try to reverse engineer it and apply it to what I'm doing. So I'm starting from a base that's not 0. You're starting from a base of 100 because you're learning from what people have already profited from, have already tested and tried and failed and torn down and rebuilt. You're just learning from that high points already. They've already worked through all the kinks. Cool. So I think we're completely finished with this topic of building a swipe database. Let's move on to content. Tell me if you've gotten this advice before. I was in a business exchange program in 2023. I got a chance to leave Jamaica and go to America. I went to Austin, Texas, where I was placed with a business there and I was allowed to learn from them and exchange my podcasting services for their learning and expertise in marketing and just working in America. I guess they taught me about the concept of the different types of clients that you want to work with. They're going to be whales, dolphins, and minnows. Whales are going to be the big clients that have the large contracts, $100,000 contracts, $1 million contracts. These are going to be your big clients, and you want to have a very few number of them because they suck up so much of your time and energy. But even though they're paying you the most, they can keep your business running for years. You're not going to get a lot of them. You want to focus on the other two. You want to focus on the dolphins. Dolphins are going to be relatively medium check sizes, consistent work. That's going to make up the majority of your revenue and client base. And then finally, you have the minnows. It's going to be small work here and there, just paying the bills, maybe getting some exposure, or you're doing it for strategic purposes, but it's not be a lot of money where you can really hold your business up with. And that concept, though interesting to me, just felt outdated. And I don't like it at all because it makes the assumption that you can't work with whoever you want to work with. You should be trying to build this multi-tier architecture for your client base, when really, if you only want to work with whales, you should be able to work with whales. This concept became popular or existed at a time when business restricted to a geographical area, maybe 50-mile radius from your office space. But times have changed. I'm living in Jamaica. I'm working with clients in America, in Canada, in the UK, in Australia. It's location independence to the maximum. And there are like 300 million people in America. There are billions of people on the planet. You can literally just work with whoever you want to work with. And so that means you don't need to have multiple client identities. especially when you're just starting out with this content game, it's important to focus on one client identity. Who is your ideal client? What is their persona? And your content should be focused around that person. That person may have a very specific income bracket. We may live in a very specific location. And I'm talking about premium clients. So you want to work with clients who are willing to pay the most for your services. And so your objective is to have the belief or have the confidence that you only want to work with the clients that you want to work with. And those clients are happy to pay you high amounts of fees for your services, and then only create content for those types of people. Like, let's say it a different way. You may create a piece of content and put it out there that it would have gone to the right person who they happen to pay the amount of money, but that slot was taken up by you creating content for somebody who's just starting out. Your content, that dream client, just kind of missed each other, like two shifts passing in the night. So don't make that mistake. When I say that your slot, I mean, just dive into a bit more about what I mean here. And because we're talking about content, right? Let us say that your dream client has one 1 hour slot in their day with which they use to consume content. You are fighting with every other content creator for that one slot. And that slot could be filled with cat videos, Netflix, maybe they're watching a Supernatural rerun or something. It could be filled with anime. I watch anime all the time. I could be watching anime instead of watching an educational video that will help me and help my business. It could be filled with scrolling on Instagram or TikTok. So it's important that you have an intentionality about who you're trying to reach and what you're trying to say to them. And you create content that only speaks to that type of person, because that slot that you're taking up is highly sought after. Okay. The next part about content is that when you create a video podcast specifically, you're not pigeonholed into any one type of content. And that's important because when you're just starting out, you want to experiment with different pieces of content. And I've said in other videos, I said in this video, there are 3 types of interviews you want to be doing. And you also want to be doing regular, just like this solo episode. I'm talking directly to you, right? You're creating content diversity with these solo episodes and these different types of interviews because you're sending them out into the algorithm and then you're seeing what works. If this one type of interview works or this one type of solo episode works more than others, you can then double down on that type of content and do more of that. So as you show up each week and you create these diverse types of content and put them out there, you're beginning to learn about what your audience wants and what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like. And that's another reason why video podcast is so powerful. The last thing I'm going to say about content is something that you're going to face, and I want to tell you right now that this is not the case. You're not shadow banned. And nothing drove that home for me more than doing this process of working my swipe database. I was putting out content blind. I was having videos that fell flat. I got 6 views or 8 views and then just completely died. But when I worked my swipe database, I realized that no, I wasn't cursed. The algorithm is not working against me. There is no such thing. And you will realize that as well. When you start from the foundation of working your swipe database, taking a thumbnail, recreating it, taking a title, recreating it, taking a hook, recreating it, making a video like the video that you see that's gotten hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of views. You will learn as well that the algorithm just wants to get the right video to the right person. And that will have a benefit of building confidence in you, okay? So trust me, as you start this content journey, don't start blind. Work your swipe database and thank me later. Okay, let's move on to offers really quickly. We have 2 more points and I'm going to wrap up here. So let's talk quickly about offers. A lot of my ideal clients are coaches and consultants who've gone through trainings and they have this knowledge, is deep knowledge and deep language and deep passion for helping people. But when it comes to framing offers, there's something that they miss on. And this is what they miss. They miss on the fact that if your offer does not have a tangible outcome, it's not a good offer. Helping someone feel happy is not tangible. Helping someone overcome pain, that's tangible. Helping someone lose weight, that's tangible. Helping someone not lash out at their family or their kids, that's tangible. Helping someone make money, that's tangible. Helping someone pass an exam, that's tangible, right? So the first thing you want to do is, what is the tangible outcome? I've seen this advice go around so much where it's like, I help my clients lose weight so that they can attract the woman of their dreams. And then the person, the guru tells them, oh, you are helping someone attract the woman of their dreams. No, it's not the same thing. You're not a dating coach, right? You're a weight loss coach. If you say, I'm going to help you to find a woman of your dreams, and then go to your sales page, they're going to be confused because none of what you're saying is helping them with dating. You're not helping them with approaching somebody, not helping them with self-confidence, not helping them with conversational skills, not helping any of that. You're just helping them to lose weight. And so I don't buy that advice. I don't buy the advice where the vehicle is irrelevant and the outcome is all that's important. But I still firmly believe in the fact that you need to have a tangible outcome. You help people do X so that they can do Y. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a productivity coach, I help you be more productive or be more efficient so that you can do something. Because productivity is not tangible. What are you being productive for? Be productive at your job so you can get a promotion. Be productive in your business so you can get to your client work fast, so you can work on the business more. Like, what is the outcome at the end of the day? When you talk about your offer, when you talk about your outcome, don't talk about here's all the hours of my time you're gonna get, or here's all the videos I'm gonna deliver. Nobody cares about, I don't wanna be harsh, but nobody cares about your time. They only care about their result. If you can give them their result in 1 hour, it doesn't matter if you have a 20-hour course to give them. You get what I'm saying? If I can pay you $5,000 and you can just hand me a calendar full of clients, full of booked calls of people who are going to close with some amount of certainty, I'd rather that than you're going to spend the next 20 hours trying to book calls for me and doing all these different things. All that stuff is relevant to me. Like, what is the outcome that I get? I don't need to know about how the sausage is made. Just give me the sausage. And usually, as it relates to offers, it's going to be one of two things. You're rarely going to get a DIY client who's a premium client. Premium clients want access. They want speed, and that usually means proximity to you as the expert. So whether that means you're going to do something with them, like why I personally pay premium services to avoid DIY is because I don't want to get the same information everybody's getting, because I have a specific issue with my specific thing. Here's my specific landing page. I need your specific feedback. Don't just give me a video walking to your framework for landing pages, because then when I make it, I won't have any confidence to know is it even good or not. Even if I did replicate your framework, I need to get feedback on what I'm doing is actually worth it. And that's why I pay for premium services. And so there's really going to be done with you or done for you services. Again, what's the outcome, right? And then what is going to be my access to you? Is it going to be done for you fashion or done with you fashion? And what does that actually look like? Prepare those together and you have a premium offer. And also think about as well, what is the proximity? What is the solutions proximity to the person's pain? If you have a nebulous process that's not tied to any urgency on the client side to solving that problem, it's a very poor offer. Versus if you're solving a very strong problem for your client, if you're solving a very urgent pain for your client, you're gonna have a very premium offer there. Moving on to the landing page. Now, I'm gonna take a different approach for this one. I'm gonna talk about the anatomy of a landing page. And what I want you to do is to go into this process with an experimenter's mind. One, we're going to start off realizing that if you're new to creating content that brings in clients on autopilot, like maybe not with you, not being involved with maybe doing outreach or doing referrals or anything like that. If you're just putting out content with hopes that automatically the algorithm put it in front of the right people who will watch your content and then go to your landing page, you want to start off by keeping everything extremely simple and having an experimenter's mind to begin to test things. So that means go to your landing page builder, whether it's Leads Pages or ClickFunnels or System.io, whatever it is, and create an A/B test, right? You're going to compare 2 pages to each other or any number of pages to each other, right? And you want to start up with basic versions of everything, a very basic landing page. And it goes through this anatomy. You want to have an above the fold. Above the fold means if your people are on desktop and they load up your page, what's going to be the most important thing that you want them to see? And it's going to be a very few amounts of things because you want to keep things simple. If things are too complicated, people are going to be confused and they're going to leave. So above the fold, the first thing that you want them to see is going to be the heading. What is the heading saying? How is it directly targeting the person going to that page? And then 2 is going to be a VSL, a video sales letter. Just a video of you talking to the camera or talking to them. Just you like me, I'm talking to you and I'm saying exactly what it is I have on offer for you. Here's what I have for you. I have this podcast growth and monetization program where I help you to launch, grow, and monetize your services through a video podcast specifically, where we remind your YouTube channel, you will create the content, and then we will handle all the posting on YouTube, the creation of titles and thumbnails, the repurposing of all the content across social media, the TikToks, the Instagram reels, etc. And we'll create all the funnels for you, and we'll optimize them for you so that we're driving traffic the right way, the effective way through to your offers to have people booking on your calendar. We'll build all of that for you. And we'll constantly be working to repackage and repurpose your videos so that they'll constantly be optimized for views. So if a video falls flat, We'll see what we can do to rejig, repackage the titles and thumbnails, like more views, things of that nature, right? That's the VSL right there, right? And I could talk more about myself and how long I've been doing this or anything like that to give you confidence that you're working with somebody who's a professional. I know what I'm doing. That is what you put on your VSL. About the fold, headline, VSL, and a button. Whether that button is to book a call with you or make a purchase or whatever at that point, right? Below the fold, you can give them more information, specifically text for people that didn't watch the video. So you still want to say exactly what it is that you deliver, how you deliver it, benefits of what you're doing, the actual outcome they're going to get. Then you give them one at the bottom of the page, you give them up to book a call or make a purchase, right? Very simple. Notice I didn't mention testimonials because testimonials are optional. And that's where the testing comes in, right? So the first thing you want to do is create a simple page. The simple page is only going to have above the fold stuff. It's only going to have the heading, the VSL, and the button. And you could replace the button with the calendar directly like I do. I directly have the calendar on the page where you can book a call from that page itself. Then an A/B test on that page, or a different version of the page that has more information about what they get and testimonials from my clients. And I test those with each other to see which one books the most calls. And you can do that an infinite number of times. You can create multiple versions and then constantly testing. Maybe you might have a different video for the VSL. Maybe it's longer or shorter. You may be able to test different headings, different headlines. You may be able to test different sales copy on that page. Maybe you want longer copy, more in-depth stuff, or maybe less in-depth, shorter copy. The key thing here to remember is to avoid flowery language. Be very direct and very clear about what it is that you're offering, who it's for, and use the language that they would use. What is that they're struggling with? Use that language. For my clients, they want to be top of mind. They want to attract clients, but they don't want to be on the content hamster wheel where they're constantly trying to create reels and create stuff for social media, but they still want to be present on social media and have their content reach the right people. My clients also want to build a content funnel that attracts premium clients without all the guesswork. They want to know a system that they implement is proven to get them clients and it works for them, and they can see the results of that. It's important to start small, simple, and test as much as you can. And you want to test one thing at a time. So if you're doing an A/B test, do an A/B test just for the headline. If you find a headline that works, do an A/B test just for the VSL. You get the picture. And know that you have the system in place for attracting premium clients. The beauty of this is you just have to keep working the system. Once you keep working on creating that content, getting to that 100 and then getting beyond that 100, you're going to get the traffic. And then the traffic is going to come through. You're going to be working their way through the tests. And then you're going to find clients that are going to be booking calls. You're going to be seeing, okay, this test is working. This is a winning page. And then when you look at it, right, when you've gotten some distance of this process, when you've mastered this process for a while, you realize that you're just like the people who I spoke about earlier in this video, who have some amount of certainty. They'll have that close, keen, intimate feeling of when they create this video, it's going to lead to this amount of people booking calls and becoming clients. All starts by doing this that I'm talking about in this video, and there's no other way to do it. You cannot avoid doing the work, and this is the most effective and efficient way to do the work. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. Leave a comment if you like this video, and